Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Actually, it's good morning for me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be, wherever we are, wherever you are. I'm still tired from Christmas. In this bright, beautiful world we call home, this is Cross Examinations. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. I am no biblical scholar. I am not a priest, pastor, rabbi, teacher, or anything of the sort. I'm just a layman who has been reading his Bible and studying about scripture and history, etc., for decades. So, thank you for being here. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, either one or both, hopefully. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Star of David, the Magin David, as it is known in Israeli circles. Let's see. Hello, everybody. I forgot to jump in here and get my chat going. I don't know if anyone noticed. I kind of revamped the look of the Blacklist Universe page. I dropped some Lone Star art in. I put the Christmas story up, which only has 238 views, which I'm surprised. Cross-examinations, folks, if you have not gone to watch the Christmas story on my page yet, then please, by all means do. Otherwise, I could play it here, but that would take up like 5 minutes. Which, who cares, right? Let's do that. And then that'll actually lead into what it was I was talking about. Hello, everyone. How do I sound, guys? How do I sound? I got, for Christmas, a microphone. Hello. Is it? It's like, it's the microphone, but it's like that. Wow, 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 wow. It's like that truth thing from Star Wars that was going to extract the truth from Princess Leia. This is my truth extractor microphone. So that is there, sitting on my desk now. Clear and pretty. Fantastic. Crisp, yet smooth. Like a good cup of iced joe. Lovely. I don't know what this white stuff is on my glass. I should probably stop. Probably not. Oh, I bet you this is a glass my daughter used to clean her brushes. It's probably got some acrylic paint stuck on the edge. All right, so I am going to go to my YouTubes, and I'm going to play, for those of you who have not watched it yet, YouTube, Underdog Mike, I'm going to play the Christmas story for you. And for those who have seen it, then you get to see it again. So, press this button over here. Oh, let me full screen it. Play it. Oops. Hold on. Apparently I can't full screen it, then play it. I have to jump over here, then go to full screen. Then go to application window, share. Now that I'm sharing, hide. Now go to full screen. Full screen. Jump back to the beginning. And 3, 2.
The Blacklist Universe. You'll believe in heroes again. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. This taxing was first made when Cyrenius, was governor of Syria. They all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph, and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen as it was told unto them.
All right. I don't think we need to watch Home Alone. Literally, it makes no sense. But stop screen sharing. And I'm back. All right. So, if you guys, it was a nice cartoon I saw this morning. Very good job. Thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed that and has shared it out. And I hope you're all liking and sharing this video as we go. There's 29 watching now. Let's get a few more people in here. Yes, that was the sweet, smooth voice of Edwin Boyette. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin, for voicing that. Thank you to my son, Elijah, for doing all of the production work, editing, animation, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, please watch it again. It's my featured video on my page. Like it, share it, do the same with this show. Let's get some more people in here. And then if you guys noticed, I had the king symbol over the Star of David. So the point of AFAR is that I wanted to do a Bible that anyone on earth, literate or otherwise, could read and understand. And so I have to therefore use symbology when I'm having to try to get certain ideas across. So the King of the Jews, King over the Star of David thing, is the symbology I chose to use for King of the Jews. And then someone, Watchman, I believe, um, kind of pitched a little fit about it. Now, let me go to that. I got a lot of comments on this video. Actually, 26 comments so far. Most people loved it. Watchman got all mad. He says the Jews' symbol in the menorah, I think he meant is the menorah. Why associate the hexagram with Jesus? That's not the Star of David or Solomon. That's what Stephen spoke of when he was being stoned to death in Acts. He called it the Star of You, God Rifham, quoting Amos, where God spoke and denotes the star you have made for your God Chuin. In the same verse, God spoke of the apostasy of them carrying Moloch with them. Look at the hexagram. It has 6 points, 6 sides, 6 triangles, 666 each of 6 points, i.e., those triangles are 60 degrees times 3, 666. It's encoded with 666. When it's in 3D, it's Metatron's cube. Sadly, a well-known Jew for Jesus that teaches in Hebrew and English has 2 teachings that I know of, that he only teaches Jews, i.e., Metatron is Jesus. Jacob Prash is the teacher. I asked the Lord why there was a hexagram on Israel's flag. What is that occult sigil? Therefore, he led me to Amos and Acts and lots of praying and researching this for years. This is a continuation of what is going on in Ezekiel chapter 8. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's see. In Acts, the star of your God Rifham. Acts, God Rifham. Mm-hmm. I probably should have looked this up before. I was busy researching the Star of David. Acts 7:43. The god Moloch or Moloch is mentioned several times in the Bible or other passages. Can't find anything about the god Rephan. Who or what was the god Rephan or Rapham? Acts 7:43, New Living Translation. No, you carried your pagan gods, the shrine of Moloch, the star of your god Rephan, and the images you made to worship them. So I will send you into exile as far away as Babylon. Okay, I need the whole context here. Acts 7. Acts chapter 7, King James Version. 7, let's see, we're at 43. Let's back it up from 43. Okay. This is he, 38. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel, which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, who received the lively oracles to give unto us, to whom our fathers would not obey, but thrust him from them, and in their hearts turned back again into Egypt, saying unto Aaron, Make us gods to go before us. For as for this Moses, which brought us out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. Is this Stephen's speech? No. One moment, please. Try to see who's. No. And then Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles among the people. Then there arose certain of the synagogue, which called the synagogue of the Libertines, Cyrenians, Alexandrians, them of Cilicia and Asia, disputing with Stephen. Yeah, so this is Stephen's speech. Let's go back. We were in 38. Make us gods. And they made a calf in those days and offered sacrifice unto the idol and rejoiced in the works of their own hands. Then God turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets. O ye house of Israel, have ye offered to me slain beasts and sacrifices by the space of 40 years in the wilderness? Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your god Raphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Our fathers had the tabernacle of the witness in the wilderness, as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen. Which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drave out before the face of our fathers, unto the days of David, who found favor before God and desired to find a tabernacle for the God of Jacob. Okay. I really don't know. I mean, if God spoke to you and told you that was the God, that's the star of this, where is it, 43? Rephan. Is he even ever mentioned anywhere else? Rephan. Um, Rephan? Rephan. Star of David is the star of Rephan, the early church of Jesus. Star of the demon star. Okay. I mean, that seems a little bit conjectural, honestly. If you're asking me, you have one mention written in Acts. Acts is written what around 70? No. Between like 35, somewhere between 35 and 70 Acts had to be written, right? Because it was prior to the destruction of Israel. But Stephen's accusing the Jews in the wilderness of using the star of Rephan, right? The Jews in the wilderness. This is in Moses's time. If you're taking in context the story that Stephen is speaking about right here. I have zero evidence, other than some conspiracy sites, saying that that's the star of Rephan. And yeah, geez, 60 plus 60 plus 60 equals 180 times 2 triangles equals 360. 360s, omitting the zeros, 36. 3 sixes is 666. Adding 1 up to 36, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 36 equals 660. Oh my God. All right, you're doing a little bit of dancing there. So no, I don't think for a second that the Star of David is the great 666. I believe the mark of the beast is, it's not, I think frankly, I think 666 is a misunderstanding. I think I'm a believer in the Walid Shabbat understanding of that scripture, which is that it wasn't even Greek. It was Arabic written, like John was translating Arabic directly into, he used Arabic letters, and it's actually in the name of Allah. That's what those 3 Greek word letters mean. I could be wrong. You could be right. It just seems so convoluted, and God is not the author of mysteries, is he? Right? Or not the author of confusion. And so I think that's a little bit hinky. I'm not going to judge you for believing it. It seems, but you are way deep into tinfoil hat territory with this one. And so, from my research, the Jews, the earliest archaeological evidence that I could actually find, there has been. I was reading some rabbis who were saying there was archaeological evidence from 600 BC, which would actually predate the last writing of the prophets. Like Malachi was written, I think, in 400 AD, so it would have been 200 years before that. But that there was a synagogue in northern Israel using the Star of David. There are early archaeological evidences of the Star of David being used on synagogues, on Jewish architecture, and people try to dismiss it as motif, like, oh, it's, we just need a symbol or whatever. But I think that all becomes sort of a moot point. At about 200 AD, it seems, from what I have been able to research, it starts to become fairly commonplace on gravestones, on markers and whatnot, that the star, the Magin David, which they are saying is the symbol of the shield of David, right? That became commonplace as a symbol demarking nothing mystical or nothing magical, or just a symbol that demarcates these are Jews, right? It's like a symbol of being a Jew, or Jewish, a Jewish building, or Jewish lands, or Jewish graves, or whatnot. And was it used prior to that? Yeah, there are early. I mean, this was a symbol used in Rome, right? This was a symbol used probably in India. You know, it's two triangles. It's two interlocking triangles. It's not that hard. You know, it's probably a symbol as old as mankind. And yeah, I'm sure it has been used by bad people, or it's probably been, you know what? I mean, people have used the cross. People use the cross before Jesus, right? It came to be known as a symbol of Christ. Not even when Christ was killed. I believe the cross was a medieval demarcation of Christ. In the early centuries, the symbol for Christ was the fish, the Christian fish, because of the miracles of the loaves and fishes, and because Christians were persecuted. It was actually a death sentence. It was a capital crime to be a Christian. So I don't know how you are. You know, if you're in conversation with somebody nowadays, you don't know if they're a Christian, but you just get this feeling, right? Like the spirit is tugging you, saying, "Hey, this guy's a believer." I found one of my best friends out. We were just talking at a restaurant, total strangers talking at a restaurant, and we're just like, "You're a Christian, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, we had that feeling about you." But in early times, in this is where the origin of the Christian fish came. Um, if you had that feeling about someone you were talking about, and you knew it was like, hey, it's a death sentence to be like, hey, I'm a Christian. You would take your foot in the sand, and you would just draw an arc, right? You draw an arc in the sand with your foot. And if the other person noticed you doing that and was a believer, if the other person noticed you doing that and was not a believer, they'd be like, "Huh, that's weird. Why are you doing that?" If the other person noticed that and was a believer, your arc would then be intersected with another arc from the other person that created that fish. That's where the Christian fish symbol came from. And that was essentially the symbol for Christianity for a while. I could look it up. Earliest use of the cross as a symbol for Christianity. 35 years. If you could like and share, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, and the cross was used in pagan symbology before that. But you know what? We've taken it. We, as the church, have taken the cross as the symbol of Christ. I'm reading this one thing. It says, there's absolutely no evidence that God's true church ever used the cross symbol for any purpose. This is probably like Church of the Great God. It's probably some weird. How did the cross come to be a symbol? Free cross images, choosing the cross. I'm trying to find a date here, so I'm not just. There's arguments that it may have started in the early 2nd century. So almost 200 years into Christianity is when we started using the cross, right? If this is accurate. And so, yay! Around the same time is when they may have started using the Magin David, the Star of David, to delineate Christian lands from Jewish lands. I remember reading there was a marker where there was a stone and there was a cross on one side and there was a Jewish star on, or the Star of David on the other side. So as simple as saying, this is Christian land, this is Jewish land. It's just a demarcation, and at some point, the majority of Judaism adopted it as a symbol of the Jews. It's really that simple. I don't think you need to get into all this conspiratorial mishmash. Nobody in Judaism, when they write the Star of David, is thinking, this is the Star of Rephaim. I am a worshiper of Satan. They've adopted it. All right. If you're Comicsgate, it's like, we adopted the word. We took it over. Okay. The Jews took over the Star of David. Please don't pretend like they're looking at that and they're thinking they're satanic or whatever. I know that's probably not what you were trying to say. I don't mean to lay that on you like that. But it's I don't see the point in that. So so true. Just missed the name. Pop out chat. And so, looks like I just got a notification that Ethan uploaded a new video. That is the nice thing about Ethan not live streaming, is it doesn't suck up my viewers. You can go watch an uploaded video anytime you like. Hope you had a great Christmas, everyone. Watched and shared. La la la. Cute animation. Angels look like me Sikhs. Don't know what that is. Mike, do you have a new mic? Yes. Is it too quiet? Do I have to bring the mic? Do I need the mic closer to my face? Can't argue with solid math like that. I know. It's crazy. 6 is the number of man. The mark is for man. Man of man from man. Isn't it 616? Also, let conspiracy theories on this. Yeah, there were translations that translated those symbols as 616. Now, let me show you. Let me see if I can find it. So, what was it? Textus Receptus 666. Images. All right. So here's sort of what I'm going off of. Let me see if I can share screen with you. So this is the Textus Receptus. This isn't actually it. This is the actual papyrus for the Codex Vaticanus, right? Textus Receptus means they didn't translate. They copied letter for letter and symbol for symbol. That's what textus receptus means, right? So here you have these two crossed lines, this singular symbol, right? Here, and then this symbol here with the dot. This symbol here is, if you invert it, it is clearly the symbol for Allah, right? The two crossed lines could be the cross swords, which is another symbol for Allah. Now, here, where's the Greek? You can see when they try to like force this into Greek, right? This is, I don't know if you can see this very well. I think this is the Greek, right? Which is just an X. This is not just an X. This doesn't have the swoop or anything like that. This looks like two crossed swords. This Greek letter, there's no line. This line is part of this word, this letter here, right? And it is not, it's just a basic E with the swirl at the end. This is not just a basic E. And then this, I don't know what that is. But when you have a Muslim, this was Walid Shabat's writing of it, right? This is the Muslim. This literally says, in the name of Allah. Bism Allah. Bism Allah. And then the swords. And I don't know if this is truth. But boy, it just smacks of truth in my heart. It just feels like truth. And otherwise, what you're doing when you're trying to translate 666 into the meaning of a word, that's called gematria, right? It's called gematria. Gematria is it's witchcraft. Trying to use letter or numbers to it's like numerology. The Bible doesn't use numerology. God doesn't use numerology. Yeah, certain words have numerical meanings and whatnot, but it's just not standard operating procedure for Scripture to use gematria. I thought it was called shoehorning. But if you read it as Bism Allah, in the name of Allah, and the badge, the word for mark is no, dexios is hand. Karagma. The word is karagma for mark that they use. And karagma means badge of servitude, right? It doesn't mean tattoo. It doesn't mean implant. It means badge of servitude. So if you take the badge of servitude in the name of Allah, it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple to understand. And then dexios doesn't mean right hand like everyone else says. Dexios means right side or arm. So, yeah, trying to use the 666 to interpolate that the beast will be Jewish because he uses the Star of David. Oh, you're jumping through so many hoops that don't make any sense, especially when you take into context that all of the armies of the Antichrist named in Isaiah, in Ezekiel, in Daniel, in Revelation, they're all Muslim nations. It all just fits together, square pegs into square holes. There's no shoehorning about it. So there you go. I hope you understand what I think now. Has anyone else been watching Raiders of the Lost Ark today? No, but that sounds fun. I do have some work to do. I always thought the pentagram would be the mark of the beast, or I could be wrong. Well, I just explained the mark of the beast. People always have to turn a simple thing into something sinister or ridiculous. Yeah, man, it's tinfoil hat stuff, in my opinion. No offense to anyone who still believes that stuff, but I just don't. I don't buy it. The Jews are God's chosen people. That they may have chosen a particular symbol. I don't know. It's I don't mean to lay this on you, Watchmen, but it's almost anti-Semitic. And I don't think you are anti-Semitic. I'm just thinking that's kind of where this kind of conspiracy thing comes from in my mind. So I don't mean to insult you. Please take this as, iron sharpening iron. I just think that's off base. And if you really think that God spoke to you and told you that was the truth of it, then who am I to argue with God? But he's going to have to speak to me personally about it for me to change my mind. Walls of the catacombs under Rome have many fish carvings from when they held secret meetings down there. There you go. I thought the fish was because Jesus made us fishers of men. Ah. Well, either way, that's a good one too. Dear Mark, who's Mark? I want to talk to you about Comicsgate, and some friends have some good ideas. I just want to be anonymous, please. I don't know who Mark is. Mark Wade? Are you talking about Mark Wade? Mike, sorry. Oh. You want to talk to me about Comicsgate? You have some good ideas. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. The what? Magin David? Yeah, the Magin David, the Star of David. Just got my notifications. And good. Glad somebody's getting their notification. Just misdied the name. What? Speaking of conspiracies, the Da Vinci Code and all of its sequels are terrible. Oh my gosh. The book was terrible. And Angels and Demons wasn't the sequel. It was a prequel. Angels and Demons was written before Da Vinci Code, and it bombed. And then the Da Vinci Code came out, and that was a big hit. And so they re-released Angels and Demons, and people thought it was a sequel. The Da Vinci Code book was terrible. And when they announced they were going to make a movie, I was like, this movie is going to suck. I can't believe they got Tom freaking, what's his face? Tom Hanks in it. That was crazy. Mike, what you got for Christmas? I got this ball of microphone-ish goodness for Christmas, and some other things. But yeah. Christmas for me is about giving because I'm a father. Therefore, I give all month long. Better, Mike. Sound much better to me now. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. Don't eat the mic. Yeah, I am not Kelsey Shannon. Zebulon Pike asks, have you seen the interview of Dutch financier Ronald Burnand? He kind of exposes a Luciferian cult that sacrifices children. No, I have not. Let me see. Actually, gosh, I know we're already off and running on this topic, but I should probably look at the last cross-examinations. Let me see my channel to catch up on any questions from that episode, which was Saturday's show. God, was it Saturday's show? No. Oh my gosh, I haven't done one since Saturday, and it's Wednesday. Ooh, okay. Let me pause that. And, oh. Nothing. 14 guy said, oh wait, how are there 4 comments, but I can only see 3? Stating the obvious here, but Edwin was made to narrate the Bible. And Shota says, happy birthday to my cousin. Yeah, it was Isaac's birthday, so there we go. All right, good. Well, I'm kind of glad we didn't have any questions because now we can just continue with this topic, which we're already off and running on, so Oh, thank you to whoever just contributed to the Meg campaign. It's his mic. He can eat it if he likes. I couldn't get this into my mouth. Look at the size. It's like, no, my little mini mic from before I could eat, but not my new. All right, I'm not going to do that anymore. Muslim. No. He was just talking about Acts 7:43. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Rephan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Oh, you know what? There's a really easy way. Dang it, all these freaking notifications I'm getting. There's a really easy way because he's talking to the Jews coming out of Egypt. God Rapham in Egypt. Gods and goddesses of Egypt. It's not even found in Egyptian lore. That's weird. That is weird. All right. Well, I guess I'm not going down that rabbit hole. La 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 la. Parable. Not that I believe in astrology, but we transitioned from Pisces to Aquarius 8 years ago. This is the dawning of the age. Oh my gosh, can you stop with the updates? Sounds much better. That's good. Christmas Mass was great, by the way. Full of people. Glad people are still going, even if it's 2 times a year. I'm trying to go more now. I've never been to a Christmas Mass. We did do a Christmas Under the Stars thing here at my church. It was good times had by all. Sleigh bells. Frightened being. Thought that was called shoehorning. I was a bit. I'm always a bit skeptical of the numerology with the biblical stuff. They try to wow you with prophecy. Rhaegar Targaryen says, "Yeah, the numerology is it's I think it would be described as sorcery or witchcraft in the Bible. Numerology is not kosher, I believe, in biblical teaching. So why everyone is happy to say 666 is doesn't make sense to me. And also the number, it says 666 is the number. The word for number also means multitude. So the badge of servitude of the multitude of the beast. So doesn't every letter in the Hebrew language have a numerical value assigned to it? Yes, it does. But they don't refer to it as a number, or is that a bad translation or something? Well, as I was saying, it was those 3 symbols, and then sometimes those symbols had been translated 616. But it's yeah. Let me look something up real quick here. I've got sunshine. So Blue Letter Bible, 13. On a cloudy day, doom, 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 and it's cold outside. I've got the month of May. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number, arithmos, of the beast. Beast, I don't think needs to be extrapolated upon. Yeah, and then, okay, here's the interesting thing. So, chi, psi, stigma. Gosh, I wish I had some. Hold on. My brain's going all over the place right now. So there's two ways it's used. An indefinite number or multitude, or a fixed and definite number. So it can, it could be used either way. So let's see how it is used in the scripture. Satan entered into Judas Iscariot being of the number of the 12, which means being a member, being of the number of the 12. I guess a member of the number of a specific number. That's weird. Sat down in the number about 5,000. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting usage because it's saying sat down in the number, sort of meaning the body of people in that number, and then gives the specific number, about 5,000. Actually, that's the first two ways it's used. And the third, in Acts 4:4, same way. A number of men, which just means a multitude of men, Acts 5:36. The numbers of the disciples, Acts 6:7. A great number believed, that's again a multitude. Grows in number daily, a multitude. Through the number of the children of Israel, another multitude. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000. Okay, that's a specific number of which were sealed. So it could go either way. Which means it's not that number can't define what what that word can't define the meaning of the entire passage, because it can go either way as a specific number or as the multitude of that number. So the number of a man, the beast is for the number of a man, and his number is chi, psi, stigma, which again, if Walid Shubat's translation is to be correct, because he was saying that, he was reading it and everybody was always like, what is the 666? And he read it and he's like, I can read it. That's Arabic. It just popped out in his head because he was raised as a Muslim and raised reading Arabic, that in the Textus Receptus, it reads as Arabic, which to me is it's interesting. I'm not going to, and to me, it also fits better with the totality of what we know about the armies of the Antichrist, who they are, where they come from, and how their Messiah, their Mahdi, reflects a dark version. Well, not even a dark. Their Mahdi is the Antichrist, as described in the Bible. The very many similarities in description, in names, the deceiver, I can't remember all the other ones. And the 7-year peace treaty, all that fun stuff, paints the Mahdi as the Antichrist. The number of his name, if the multitude of his name, Allah, is in the name of Allah, right? Bism Allah. I don't know. It just all falls into place for me. If it doesn't for you, pray on it, think on it. You guys come to your own conclusions. I'm not forcing you to believe anything. Lectus Dominus. I don't know what that is. Wait a minute. Which are the Muslim nations? I thought all the tribes of Israel were Jewish. All the tribes of Israel are Jewish. The nations that attack Christ in the end times are all Muslim nations today. You have gosh, I can't ramble them off the way Walid Shootbot can, but I think it's like Kush, Put, Edom, Syria, Assyria, as it is. I mean, dude, the name for the Antichrist is the Assyrian. They call him. That's his name. That's one of his names in the Bible. So I don't know. Maybe look for somebody from Syria or one of the nations that made up, ancient Assyria. I think it's Syria and several of the other nations surrounding it. Maybe even Turkey. Turkey might have been part of Assyria. No, I think Turkey was Kush. But anyways, all of the named nations and land masses that whose people rise up to battle Christ and Christ's army, the Messiah's army in the end times, they're all Muslim nations. So it's, I mean, exactly how simple of a paint by numbers picture do you need to get before you figure out who the armies of the Antichrist are, right? It's not Russia, although the lower parts of Russia are also Muslim. No. I thought the beast was Tim Curry. Will you be doing a Christmas Lone Star comic? Dude, I haven't even gotten done with, well, no, the Christmas Lone Star comic will be Lone Star issue 2, and it won't have anything Christmas in it. Sorry. Apologies. Moloch, you mean abortion clinics? Oof. Yeah. At least they don't burn them alive, right? They just tear them apart. Oh, I don't want to get into that. It's just neither, Benedict VIII says, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. This is an interesting scripture that many people try to attribute to an individual Antichrist as being homosexual, because neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God. Right? What religion disregards the desires of women, treats women as not only second-class citizens, but almost cattle? Right? There's a particular religion on this planet that treats women, I don't know, their voices are negligible in a court of law. I believe you have to have 4 women, if I remember correctly, under Sharia. Oh, I gave it away. I think you have to have 4 women to equal the witness of one man. So any woman who's ever raped in a private location, she's guilty, because the man's testimony is worth 4 times hers. The treatment of women under Sharia, I think that qualifies as not regarding the desire of women. This doesn't indicate to me that the Antichrist is gay. It means that he doesn't give a gosh diggly darn what women care about, desire, right? And he shall not regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. Yeah, that would be the Mahdi, who, it's funny because in Islam they say they don't worship Muhammad, but I think, gosh, I'm trying to remember this correctly. I think they believe that Muhammad. No, I'm not even going to say, because I might be wrong. But anyways, all right. don't want to go. If I'm questioning what I'm saying, I don't want to say it. Did she just refer to him as dad? Slave. There's always time for that. There's a possibility that the Antichrist will be Jewish or come out of the church, but he will clearly be an apostate. I don't see that at all. That's such a Western paradigm. And you know what? The Bible was written from a Middle Eastern perspective. It was written from the perspective of people living I don't know. I just think that the West has I don't know if it's an arrogance or it's just it's an attempt to shoehorn Western civilization and our contributions into the biblical text. And in some senses, it seems to me, a Protestant desire to shoehorn. I mean, it doesn't take away from all the evils the Catholic Church has done to Protestants, to Jews, heck, to apostate Catholics. But I don't believe in this paradigm that Rome is the Antichrist. It just doesn't fit. So no, I don't think so. And that's where all that Western paradigm thinking comes from. So I just eschew it. I go back to this is a Middle Eastern document. It should be understood from a Middle Eastern perspective. So 603 score 6 specifically. That's in English, Benedict. Numbers are used in the Bible to mean things, but numerology is another form of astrology. Yeah, that's true. I mean, 6 is the number of man. It is symbolic of man, but that's not numerology. 7 is the number of completion, or God, I think. No, 3 is the number for God, if I remember. I don't know. I need to go back and restudy all that stuff. I always believe the 616 translation. When you apply any type of breakdown to book, chapter, verse number, you're stretching things because those are not part of the original text. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those were added much later. I think those were added. Were those added chapters and stuff? Were those added in the 1600s? I don't remember. Darn it. Revelations, it's Revelation, singular, is widely considered a fraud. No, it's not. If I remember right, it was made like in 1100s to 1500s, so taking Revelations as scripture is odd and wrong to do by many sects. Totally wrong, Dragon. Revelation was written on the Isle of Patmos by John in 100 AD and can be quoted by all of the early church fathers in the 2nd century. So if a book was quoted in the 2nd century, thinking it was written in the 11th century is, it's just wrong. I don't have another way to say that without being snarky. Yeah, Liam. Islam isn't a religion of deception. Hashtag Taqiyya. So Taqiyya is the Islamic commandment that you may and you must lie in order to forward the benefit or the word of Allah. So you can deceive people as long as it's for God. Because, when the Mahdi is described as the deceiver in their own holy writ, yeah, I guess if you believe in a God that's a big fat liar, yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Seems pretty plausible. Mike, on to something. Dragon, at least it's easier to say than Satsakumi Senpu Kyaku. Satsumaki. Senpukyaku. I don't know what that is. Each of the numbers have a meaning. 6 is, if I remember right, the number of perfection twice over, but is worldly, which is why the number of Satan is, and 7 is of God, and 5 is of man. No, 6 is the number of man, 3 is the number of God, 7 is the number of completion or perfection. Tribe of Dan. Wait, where did Cush put Edom? Wah, 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 wah. Was the Quran written before the book of Revelation? No, the Quran was written in the 5th century, I think, or the 6th century, 500 AD, during that century, I believe. And again, Revelation was written in 100 AD. So Turkey didn't exist back then. No, Turkiya did not exist back then, but the land mass, I think it's Kush. Yeah, it doesn't say Turkey in the Bible. It would say Kush, right? And so by saying Kush, we look at the map. Where is Kush? And today you call it Turkey. You know, Istanbul is Constantinople. Why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. It doesn't matter what you call a landmass now. It matters where that landmass is when it's being described. Yes, it is foretold that the Antichrist will be of Syrian descent. Yeah, he is described as the Assyrian. Not Syrian by today's, you know, the country of Syria, I believe, is smaller than the country of Assyria, right? I think parts of it have been whittled off or something. I do like simple paint by numbers. Yeah, Edwin Boyette repeats what I said, or said it before I did, because I'm behind on the chat. Early church scholars or leaders were already writing about the revelation in the 2nd century AD. Edwin is correct, Dragon. Rhaegar says, this reminds me, I've been checking out Shapiro's Sunday specials for the last few. He has interviewed some religious authors and representatives. Yeah, I caught some of that with the Catholic bishop dude. Dragon says, if you don't know what the numbers meant to people, you can't understand things right. For example, 40 is used, and the most famous usage is Noah's flooded last 40 days. That's wrong. Flood lasted 40 days. Yeah, 40 is the number of testing. 40 years in the desert, 40 days in the desert for Christ. It rained for 40 days in the flood, although the flood lasted, I believe, 120 days. But yeah, 40 is the number of testing. It means that the flood lasted till the world was purified, not 40 days. Like cattle, they have been... You're talking about the Amish. What passage of scripture are you drawing from, Edwin? In referring to Revelation, that was Revelation 13:18, if that's what you're talking about. Do you know about the dhimmis and the kitmen in Islamic culture as it pertains to Christianity? I do not. Biblically, the flood lasted around a year. I believe the flood waters abated after 120 days, if I can remember correctly, but Noah stayed on the ark. Yeah, I think Noah stayed on the ark for about a year because, you know, the flood waters were abating. If it's like, hey, the ark landed, let's all get out. You'd be... I don't know why you'd want to get out. It'd be like living on a houseboat for a while, and then it'd be like living on marshlands for a while, or living in a swamp for a while. Yeah, I think he gave... I'm trying to remember exactly here. But it gave time for the earth to, you know, replenish around him, I guess, before he got out of the ark. So I think you're right. I think it was about a year from entry to exit. But the floodwaters lasted about 120 days, so it was about another half a year before he got out. And remember, 360-day years, 360, not. So I guess it would be 1/3 flood, and then 2/3 no flood, and then got out of the. Or I might have to, Edwin, if you could double check that for me, that'd be great. So the Antichrist will practice toxic masculinity. Oh no, you weren't there. Worse, Islamic masculinity. Whereas, yeah, the Antichrist is misogynistic. I know, right? Right? Gosh, diddly darn, random Christian guy. Assad or Putin? Putin is not a Syrian. Assad, I don't believe it would be Assad, because Assad is a secularist, and I don't think like the devout, what I call the pre-apocalyptic Muslims would follow him. So it's entirely possible that someone may overthrow Assad, and that person. Gosh, why is the media painting Assad to be this freaking monster? Have you ever watched videos of this guy? I've it's weird. I can't make the connection, and maybe that makes him the Antichrist, because maybe I'm being fooled here. But I watch interviews with Assad, and the guy seems like such a mild-mannered, intelligent, reasonable human being who loves his own people. He's like, why on earth would I gas my own people? They're my people, you know? And yet the mainstream media is painting him to be the Antichrist. And again, maybe I'm being fooled. But he makes, I don't know. And then I talked to a guy, a Christian guy, who was from Iraq, and man, he was a Coptic Christian who fled Iraq a while ago, who loves Assad, right? And maybe that's the trick. Well, I don't know. That's a deeper conversation. I don't want to get too far deep into that one. Dragon, I'd have to look it up, as it's trivial information, since it doesn't really matter at all. If you accept it, it just changes the authorship. Well, it would make it a lie, because it says John wrote it, and John, it was not 1,000 years old when he wrote it. He died on Patmos. Flood rose for 40 days, but took over a year to assuage. There you go. Kind of like how Western churches depict Jesus as having blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah, that's not just. I understand what you're saying here, and I can't entirely bag on that, because what they were doing was not trying to belittle his actual lineage. They were trying to draw the Western culture people into the faith, to give them a closer understanding. This is what I think. I could be wrong. Maybe they were trying to belittle his origins. Somehow I doubt it. But it's the same thing. You see the medieval painters, the Renaissance painters. They didn't paint the Roman centurions in general. They didn't paint them in the garb of the day of ancient Rome. They painted them in modern, Spanish or Italian or German armor, and they dressed everyone. They portrayed the biblical stories in the modern and cultural context that they were used to, right? And who knows, maybe it's because they didn't have very good costumers, because they were all painting from models, and so maybe that's they just couldn't afford to get someone to design the appropriate costumes for them to wear in order to. but it all those paintings made sense and preached the gospel visually to the people of the day. And in northern cultures, the people of the day that they would have been referencing would have been blonde-haired, blue-eyed folks. I'm sure that wasn't as common in say Spain. Well, no, I don't know. Actually, I think the dark hair, brown-eyed genetics probably came from the Moorish invasion. So no, that would have been before that. So anyway, you get what I mean? It's why I wanted to do Alpha Omega Chronicles, and I wanted to do it sort of set in a modern context. It would have been a modern context telling of the actual biblical stories, and it would have been a great way to reach a modern audience with this original classic tale. So I don't put any nefarious motivations into their doing of that. So I don't know if that's too tangential of a point, but whatever. All right, let me see where we are at, because I don't want to go over an hour, even though I love. Oh man, we are an hour 10. Sorry, I have overshot this show by a long shot. Drawn and quartered tonight. Hope everyone is going to be there. 48 viewers now. Sorry, we gotta wrap this up. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. This was a fun one. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any questions I didn't get to, please do drop them in the comment section. Do like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Double check your notifications. Make sure they are set to always and not to sometimes, or whatever the other one was. Appreciate everyone being here. If you want to talk drawn and quartered, hit me up on Twitter, Abacus Mike. And we'll see you later. Good day. God bless. And hope it's a great new year.